All right, so good evening, everyone. My name is Sonia Meghani. As some of you all might be knowing, I'm a nutritionist and a dietitian as well. And I consult in Mumbai. And I've been practicing for the past 15 years now in this field. Today, I'm here with all of y'all to speak about the World Hypertension Day. Let us know the significance of hypertension. Why are we celebrating this day? What is the relevance of this in our country? So I have some statistics to begin with. Well, hypertension is a leading cause of premature death worldwide. That is exactly why we are talking about it. So about 1.28 billion adults in this age group of say 30 to 79 years are suffering from hypertension. And most of them are living in a low and a middle income group. So what happens is about 46% of these adults which are having hypertension are unaware of this condition. So they have never been diagnosed with this. Less than half of the adults, at 42% with hypertension, are diagnosed and treated. So only 1 in 5 adults with hypertension have it under control. So our global target for non-communicable disease is to reduce the prevalence of hypertension by 33% between the years 2010 and 2030. So this is a lot of numbers, but we have to understand that 1 in 5 individual is having it under control. So 4 people out of these are not having their hypertension in check or under control. Okay, so what is hypertension? Hypertension is basically about two figures, the systolic and the diastolic pressure. So high blood pressure is with the blood vessels, there's too much pressure, the pressure is high, about 140 to 90 is considered as high blood pressure. So it is common and it can be treated, but if not treated, it can be serious. So people with high blood pressure may not feel any symptoms unless and until they get it checked. So the risk factors for hypertension are older age. So if your age is say about 60 years, you're more prone to having hypertension. Or if it is genetically prone, if your parents or your forefathers have high blood pressure, or if you're overweight or obese, or if you're not being physically active, if you're having a high salt diet, or if you're drinking too much alcohol, all these are the risk factors for hypertension. So blood pressure is written in two numbers. As I mentioned, the systolic pressure is a number that represents the pressure in the blood vessels when the heart contracts or beats. And the second one is the diastolic pressure, which is a number that represents the pressure in the vessels when the heart rests between the beats. So hypertension is diagnosed if it is measured on 2 different days. So, the hypertension is something that if you check once and your blood pressure is high, then you're not directly considered as a hypertensive. So you have to check it on 2 different occasions. And if the systolic pressure readings on both the days are more than 140 and the diastolic pressure readings are more than 90, then it is considered as high blood pressure. So there are some factors which are modifiable that we can change and improve. And there are some factors which are non-modifiable risk factors. So the modifiable risk factors are the unhealthy diet, that we are having too much of salt in our diet, a diet high in saturated fats, trans fats. So saturated fats is basically all the vanaspati, the dalda, the margarine. I'll go in detail with all the diet part. Then the trans fat are the fats that you get from all the fried foods. So when the same cooking oil is being used over and over again, it leads to trans fat. Then when there's a low intake of fruits and vegetables in our diet, if our physical activity is really low, if we are consuming tobacco and alcohol, and if we are overweight and obese, these are all the modifiable risk factors for hypertension. Now, the non-modifiable risk factors, which we cannot control, is the family history of hypertension. If you are above 65 years, or if you have any coexisting diseases like diabetes or kidney diseases, then you have more chances of getting hypertension. So most people with hypertension will not feel any symptoms. Very high blood pressure can still cause symptoms like headaches or blurred vision, chest pain, and other symptoms. So checking your blood pressure is the best way to know if you have high blood pressure. And If hypertension isn't treated, it can cause other health conditions like kidney diseases, heart diseases, and stroke. So some people who have a real high blood pressure of about 180 to 120 can experience symptoms. But remember, always it is not accompanied with symptoms. That is why it is also known as a silent killer. Okay, so the symptoms are sometimes you have severe headaches or palpitation, there's chest pain, there's dizziness, there's difficulty in breathing, there's nausea, vomiting, there's blurred vision, there's anxiety, confusion, buzzing in the ears, nosebleeds, and abnormal heart rhythm. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms, you have to seek care, especially with a professional. So the only way is to detect hypertension is to have a health professional measure your blood pressure. It's obviously just checking your blood pressure is a very simple method. Most of the people have a digital device at home these days, but still nothing can beat the old sphygmomanometer. So having a blood pressure with some professional measure is always better. It's quick and painless. You all know that. And yes, the automated devices are good at home for reference purposes. But if you want to rule out the disease, you should always meet a professional. So now what can we do to reverse this condition? So there are lifestyle changes that can help you lower your blood pressure. Eating a healthy diet, a low salt diet, losing weight, physical activity, and quitting of tobacco. So healthy diet is of course connected to all the non-communicable diseases. We talk about cholesterol, diabetes, high blood pressure, everything is connected to a healthy diet. We will go into details of that as well. Prevention. So we have to eat more of fruits and vegetables. Now, how much is more of fruits and vegetables? Ideally, 5 servings of fruits and vegetables is suggested to avoid any of the non-communicable diseases. Second is that we have to sit less. Now that our lifestyle has become very sedentary, people are mostly sitting on the chair working for hours. And that is why the most leading cause of having all this non-communicable diseases. So we need to get some activity in our life, being more physically active. We can increase our need as well. So we can go for walking, we can go for running, we can go for swimming, dancing, any activity. Even strength training exercises like lifting weights can help. How much activity is essential? So at least 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity or aerobics activity. And if you're doing some vigorous activity, then 75 minutes per week is good enough. So if you're doing some strength building activities, then 2 or more days in each week is good enough for you. Losing weight is very crucial. Losing weight if you're overweight or obese will directly help you lower your blood pressure. Taking medication as prescribed by your healthcare professional. Now, this is very important. What we generally tend to do is we take the medication, then we keep checking our blood pressure. Once we realize that our blood pressure is normal, we stop taking the medication. But we have to realize that this normal blood pressure is due to the medication that we are taking. So discontinuing the medication may lead to harmful hazards. So we have to always keep appointments with your healthcare professional, check with them, and then reduce the dosage and discontinue as per their advice. So do not eat too much salty food. Now, how much salt is permitted and how much is not? So the person who is detected with high blood pressure has to ideally stay under 2 grams per day. But the recommendation by WHO is 5 grams per day. So 5 grams of salt per day is 1 teaspoon. Then we have to avoid eating foods that are high in saturated fats or trans fats. Now, what are the saturated fats? We have the ghee, we have the outside ghee that we get, the vanaspati, the dalda, the margarine, whatever goes in bakery foods, the trans fatty foods, they're all going to end up affecting our arteries and indirectly leading to high blood pressure. Smoking and tobacco use is also directly connected to high blood pressure. Drinking too much alcohol. So this is, of course, not Indian guidelines. So that is why they have given 1 drink daily max for women and 2 for men is what you should be consuming. But if you're not, please don't start taking alcohol. So don't miss or share your medication. Okay, never do that, because I always said sharing medication or missing doses is very detrimental in these cases. So if you reduce your high blood pressure, you're actually preventing your risk of heart attack, stroke, kidney damage, as well as other health problems. So how do you reduce that? First and foremost, in today's lifestyle, the most uh, common or the root cause of all the illnesses is your stress level. So if you're stressed out consciously or subconsciously, that is going to directly affect your hypertension. So you have to first reduce and manage your stress consciously. So regularly checking your blood pressure is important if you have been detected. Treating it is important, and managing other medical conditions that are associated with high blood pressure. Because, generally blood pressure is not it is a symptom of many other diseases. So it can be a symptom of a kidney disease. It can be a symptom of some other ailments in the body. It can be accompanied by other ailments. So it's always called like a syndrome X. A syndrome X is when a person is obese, and along with overweight, they have high blood pressure, they have cholesterol, they have diabetes. So that is through a metabolic disorder wherein 2 or 3 conditions come together. So you have to manage all this together. So the complications of hypertension can be real serious. They are damaging your heart. Excessive pressure can harden the arteries, and they can decrease the blood flow. So there is less oxygen supply to the heart. So the elevated pressure in the heart can reduce the blood flow. So sometimes you can see symptoms like chest pain or angina. Heart attack is also very common, and these days it has been seen in a very younger population. Heart attack has been very common, and that is because the blood supply to the heart is blocked, because the heart muscle cells die due to lack of oxygen. So basically the flow of oxygen is blocked, and the blood flow is blocked, and that is causing damage to a certain part of your heart, and that can eventually lead to a heart failure. So when the heart is unable to pump enough blood and oxygen to the vital body organs, then there is irregular heartbeat, tachycardia, which can lead to a sudden death. Hypertension can also cause a burst or a block in the arteries that are supplying blood and oxygen to the brain. That can cause a stroke. So a brain stroke can lead to a paralysis or any other damage in your body or your organs. In addition, hypertension can also cause kidney damage and can lead to kidney failure, because see, the arteries are the most important part of the body. They are supplying blood and oxygen to all the vital organs. So when the arteries are getting hardened and they're getting affected, then all the organs of the body are getting affected. So that is exactly why this is a serious condition. Now, global average salt intake is double. We take generally 10.8 grams of salt per day, which is double the recommendation of WHO, that is 5 grams. Now, this is a global average salt intake. And in India, I'm sure crossing more than 10 grams, okay? Because the amount of farsan that we have in our diet, the amount of achar and papad that we are consuming, khichya, papad, farsan. So this is, of course, more than 10 grams for India. So, but ideally, we should be taking 5 grams of salt per person per day, 1 teaspoon. Eating too much of salt makes it a top risk factor for the diet and nutrition related deaths. So the daily values are reference amounts. So what is the problem in salt? The problem in salt is the sodium. Sodium is essential for the body, but in a certain amount. So we need the daily value of less than 2,300 milligrams per day. That is 1 teaspoon. So if we are eating our 1 teaspoon, we are meeting our sodium requirements. If we are not, if they are exceeding, then there is too much of sodium in our diet. Alcohol plays a very important role in high blood pressure, so you have to limit your alcohol. Drinking too much alcohol can raise your blood pressure over time. This has been proven. So all this is research data, and statistics have proved that men and women are advised not to regularly drink more than 14 units a week. So if you're a drinker, then this is for you. If you're not drinking, then you can just avoid this. But you have to spread your drinking over 3 days or more in a week. And 1 unit is approximately 10 ml. So you have 14 units in a week. So find out about your alcohol units and get some tips on cutting down on your alcohol. See, firstly, alcohol is rich in calories. Okay, 1 gram of alcohol gives you 7 calories. So that is indirectly leading you to weight gain and can also increase your chances of blood pressure. Right. Next, the most common or the most famous diet that we do for blood pressure reduction is called the DASH. The DASH is the dietary approaches to stop hypertension. This is used globally. It's a healthy eating plan. It is designed to treat or prevent high blood pressure. Okay, now what is the DASH diet? The DASH diet includes foods that are rich in potassium, calcium, magnesium. So these are the nutrients that help in controlling your blood pressure. Okay. So in this diet, we have to limit certain foods, like we have to limit sodium, we have to limit saturated fats, and we have to limit added sugars. So studies have shown that DASH diet can lower your blood pressure in as little as 2 weeks. And I have seen in my career those people who have been detected early with high blood pressure and they started with their diet plan. Within weeks, they see the difference. The blood pressure gets under control. They can get off medication as well. And sometimes they need not start the medication also. So the reversal is very easy if you early detect your hypertension with these kind of dietary approaches. So this diet helps in lowering your LDL, that is your bad cholesterol as well. So your cholesterol gets low, your high blood pressure is reduced. So the two major risk factors for your heart diseases and stroke are controlled with the DASH diet. So let us know what is a DASH diet about. It's a flexible diet, it's a balanced eating pattern, and it's a heart healthy eating style for life. So what are the foods that are there? Everything that is available at home or at the grocery store. So basically the DASH diet is rich in vegetables and fruits and whole grains. So we need to provide the potassium, the calcium, and the magnesium. And we avoid fats. So there is a fat-free diet or a low-fat dairy products. So fat is again indirectly linked to cholesterol and your high blood pressure. Fish is allowed in this. Chicken is allowed. Beans and nuts. But foods that are limited, that are the saturated fats, fatty meats, and full-fat dairy products. So when we are following a DASH diet, you have to choose foods always that are rich in potassium, calcium, magnesium, fiber, and protein. And you have to choose foods that are low in saturated fat and low in sodium. So our aim should be having foods that are rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains. Now, what are whole grains in India? We have been eating whole grains for a very long period of time. So our parents used to have whole grains. Our forefathers used to have whole grains. Okay, so whole grains is the millets, the jawar, the bajra, nachni. They are all whole grains. So instead of having a wheat or a basic rice product, we can always shift to whole grains for increasing the fiber content of our diet. Low-fat dairy is milk or milk products which do not have too much cream or malai, skinless chicken and fish, nuts and legumes. All the nuts, all the legumes and the sprouts are rich sources of magnesium and calcium. So those can be incorporated. Non-tropical vegetable oils, basically the olive, canola, and sunflower, soya bean, all these vegetable oils can be included. Kachi ghani is always preferred in India, so not filtered. So this is very important foods that we should be incorporating, and foods which should be avoided. Saturated fats, again, coconut is a saturated fat, cream is a saturated fat, trans fats are there. So those have to be restricted or avoided. Sodium is, of course, the major cause. Red meat has to be avoided. Okay, red meat has a lot of fat. So leanest cuts you can take, or else you can avoid red meat. And sweet and sugar sweetened beverages also has to be restricted. Okay, so what could be your normal BP? Your normal BP should be between 120 diastolic and 120 systolic and 80 diastolic. If you are at risk, if you are a pre-hypertensive, then your systolic will be between 120 to 139. And if your diastolic is between 80 to 89, that means you are not yet hypertensive, but you're in the phase, you're at risk. So this is the time where you have to make your lifestyle changes and correct the disorder. And if it is above 140/90, then you are in hypertensive, but still there are chances that you can correct it in the early stages. So foods to restrict. Now this is on the Indian context. What we eat and what we have to avoid. So as you can see in the picture, we're talking about the farsan. So we're talking about the fafra and the khama and dokla. Basically salt and sodium. So baking powder. Talking about the cooking salt as well. So we have sodium bicarbonate. There's a lot of food items that use fruit salts or cooking salts. So those are the culprits as well. They are adding more sodium in our diet. Baking powder, for that matter, all the bakery products. So if you are habituated to have something like a toast, butter, khari for breakfast, all that contains baking powder. Anything from the market that you get which is processed will have more of sodium. So canned foods, anything that comes in a can or anything that comes in a packet, for preservation, there is a lot of sodium added. So remember, all these things are contributors to sodium apart from the salt that you're eating. So these are the hidden sources. Even cake, for that matter, cakes and pastries, they're all sweet, but they have a high level of sodium. Papads and pickles, of course, and ready-made soups. So the soups that we get in the market, or the instant noodles that we get in the market, they are rich sources of sodium. So these have to be restricted. MSG, yes, we all know about this sodium, that is monosodium glutamate. It is mostly used in Chinese food, and of course, it's a contributor for sodium and other health hazards as well. So what are the foods that we need to incorporate in the Indian context? We talk about more of beans and peas. Basically, a diet rich in protein will have a lot of kathol, sprouts. So we have the moong, matki, chawli, chana, chole, rajma, everything. Then the bees and the peas and the nuts, almonds, walnuts, all of the nuts, vegetables, green leafy vegetables, palak, cabbage, carrots, beetroots, tomatoes, cucumbers, then fruits like banana, papaya, they're specifically mentioned for their potassium content. Nachni, which is also known as ragi, it's a rich source of calcium, and it's also helpful in reduction of your blood pressure. Avla in the form of juice, Duthi, brinjal, they are all helpful in reducing your blood pressure. So sodium chloride is a salt. Monosodium, we already spoke, the Chinese salt, and sodium bicarbonate. And that is found in cheese, breads, cakes, cereals, dry fruits available, vegetables, the ones which are available from outside, chocolates, milk, ice cream. So all this is the extra sodium coming in our diet. Green leafy vegetables are preferable for whoever is suffering from hypertension because they are rich in calcium and magnesium and are beneficial in lowering your blood pressure. Again, whole grains, I've spoken about all the millets and the grains, legumes, sprouts, have high fiber content, they reduce your cholesterol as well. Broccoli and citrus fruits that are rich in vitamin C, again, vitamin C has a role as an antioxidant, so that can indirectly help in lowering your blood pressure. Celery is very important in hypertension. We generally prescribe celery juice. So celery contains a natural compound, xylate, which lowers your blood pressure and is very helpful for people suffering from high blood pressure. Even the same way, onion and garlic can be used as supplements or as food additives. Flax seeds, nuts, walnuts, again for their omega-3 fatty acids, are good for your heart, good for your cholesterol, and for your blood pressure. Fish also, there are certain fish which are rich in omega-3. So we have the salmon, tuna, the mackerel, they are all rich in omega-3 and they are indirectly helping us in controlling they're basically heart-friendly foods. So if you have the high blood pressure problem, you have to avoid these things as I've shown in the picture. Saturated fats, animal products are all rich in saturated fats, okay? So animal fat, margarine, trans fats, then sugar, refined carbohydrates, we're talking about the maida, we're talking about the white food items, bread, anything that is processed is all going to increase your heart problems, all right? So now very important, if we are the consumers, it's very important that we read the labels, okay? Sometimes if we buy a certain product, we should always check for the sodium level. So this product, for example, has 460 mg, which is meeting the 20% of your daily value, which is considered very high. So how much sodium you're taking in your diet has to be monitored. and reading labels is a very important part. So what are the goals of this diet? We have to limit the sodium to not more than 2,300 milligrams a day. Okay, and saturated fat has to be lowered. We have to select fats which are MUFA, that is monounsaturated fatty acids. So we talk about the olive oil, the canola oils. We are choosing whole grains over the white flour and the pasta or the breads or the noodles that we are having. Then we are choosing more of fresh fruits and vegetables. We are having more of nuts and seeds and legumes daily. We are having protein sources which are also not rich in fat. So we are choosing a fish or a chicken over red meat, and soya products also for best protein. And our fiber intake per day should be 30 grams daily fiber, so that we can remove all the excess fat from the body. And in case you're also suffering with any heart diseases and kidney problems, then you have to be careful about your potassium intake. Okay, so you have to consult your doctor before taking excess potassium if you have kidney problems. So these are the foods that we are supposed to eat in a DASH diet. We have the vegetables, fruits, whole grains, fat-free and low-fat dairy, fish, poultry, chicken, beans, nuts and seeds, and vegetable oils. And we have to limit our fatty meats. So mutton also, everything comes in this category. Full-fat dairy, beverages, sugar-sweetened beverages, then sweets and mithai and sodium. Everything has to be limited or checked. Weight loss. Now, weight loss has a direct impact on your blood pressure. So if you're doing weight loss, approximately 10 kgs of weight loss can help you reverse all the three metabolic conditions. So either you're looking at high blood pressure or cholesterol or diabetes. If you are overweight or obese, a 10 kg weight loss will give you the reversal that you need. Because being overweight will force your heart to work harder. You have to pump blood around the body, you will raise your blood pressure. So you need to check your BMI to know whether you are healthy weight or you're obese. If you lose weight, it's going to make a big difference in your blood pressure and your overall health. So you can take advice on that and start losing weight. Getting active is very important for that. Being active throughout the day, doing your exercise regularly helps in lowering your blood pressure. So I already mentioned about this. We need 150 minutes, that is 2 hours and 30 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercises. We can do anything, okay, like a brisk walk, to a cycle, to swimming, Zumba, Pilates, whatever is convenient with you, you can do. Any form of cardio aerobic activity is good enough. And it can be a sport as well. So it need not always be like you hit the gym and you do your cardio. You can always go for gardening, you can do your badminton, you can do your cricket, you can do whatever you like. But you have to include your physical activity every day. Coffee. Now, coffee is also directly linked to your blood pressure. So if you're drinking more than 4 cups of coffee in a day, generally we're in an office setup, we have the coffee vending machine. We keep on hitting the machine. We're like, we have to finish this work. Let us have a cup of coffee. Let us get some energy. So this increase of caffeine in the body is directly connected to your blood pressure. So caffeine has to be restricted. Caffeine comes from coffee. Tea gives you the tannins, cola, and even the energy drinks. So I wouldn't name the drinks, but you all know what energy drinks I'm talking about. They will immediately give you a raise in your energy level, and that is the caffeine hitting you. So that is not suitable, can affect your blood pressure directly. So, yeah, this is all I had to speak to you about. We can have some discussion now on this.
Yes, hi.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sonia. This is such an informative session, actually. All of our attendees, if you guys have any questions, please post them in the chat box or the Q&A box. If you want to post anonymously, you can post it in the Q&A box as well. Anybody has any questions related to hypertension, related to any of the things that Sonia mentioned during the presentation, related to a much healthier diet, or anything that you would want to ask? Okay. Somebody has mentioned a protein intake for vegetarian people.
All right, so this is the most common problem. Our Indian vegetarian diet is lacking in proteins. Okay, so initially the guideline was 1 gram per kg ideal body weight. Now it's come down to 0.8, but still we need around 45 to 50 grams of protein. Now, when we see the vegetarian meals, if we are having one bowl of pulses or one bowl of sprouts, we are getting 7 grams per meal or per bowl. If we're having paneer, we're getting around 5 to 7 grams. So if we are a vegetarian, we have to make sure that every meal has some source of protein. So your breakfast has to have some nuts or some sprouts. Your lunch has to have dal or paneer or sprouts for that matter, and your dinner as well. Now, what happens is that in our diet, it's not generally balanced. We have more of some vegetables, little bit of dal, more of roti, and more of rice. So our Indian diet is very carbohydrate based diet. That is why we lack in proteins, and lacking of proteins leads to all these diseases. So that is the way we have to incorporate nuts, seeds, and dals, pulses, sprouts. Soya products are very rich source of protein. So one serving of soya will give you around 10 grams of protein. So you can include some soya beans, some soya granules in your diet. So these sources will help you increase your protein.
Okay. So somebody has also mentioned that for a field job person, how to manage this diet.
Yeah, that is very common with people who are on the field and they don't know what to eat because they are outside and what are the options available. So, of course, we have to avoid packet foods. And we are very lucky these days. There are a lot of health foods available in the market. So we carry stuff with us, you know. So we carry our makhana, we carry our diet snacks with us, we carry our puffs with us, jawar puff, nashni puff. So these puffs are available, which we have to roast at home. So if we are roasting something at home, we are keeping the sodium and the salt and the masalas under control rather than getting a packet food. So packet food will have no control of the sodium, the color, the preservatives, everything will go inside. But if you get these makhanas and the puffs and you roast it at home and you carry them with you, then it's an easy option. So these are the diet snacks that you can carry with you. Then we can carry fruits or we can pick up fruits on the go. Nuts are always advisable. Of course, not salted nuts, roasted plain nuts are advisable. So they can give you protein and they can give you like fillers in between. And then, of course, we have to choose the healthy options. So whenever we are eating even outside, a fresh cooked meal is always preferred over frozen food. So if there is a McDonald's and if there is a freshly cooked South Indian meal, you can always have a freshly cooked meal rather than, I don't want to take names, but yeah, frozen foods that are used, they are again rich in sodium, very rich in sodium. So we have to keep a check on that.
Okay.
So have something freshly cooked rather than having ready meals.
Okay. Somebody has written, what causes high blood pressure?
So yeah, I already mentioned in the presentation the causes of high blood pressure, the risk factors that I mentioned, either you are overweight, obese, or you have your family history, or you have other metabolic conditions, or you are drinking alcohol, tobacco, or there's too much sodium in your diet, there's too much of farsan, fried foods, all these are the leading factors. So if your weight is more and so basically the arteries are getting blocked. When the arteries are getting blocked because of the plaque deposition, then they have to push harder. The blood has to push harder to pass through it, and that is causing the blood pressure, the high blood pressure. So these are the causative factors. So some which are under our control and some which we cannot control. So modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors.
Okay, right. So I hope we've answered that. Next question we have here is, due to hypertension, any chance of hair fall can happen?
Hypertension and hair fall is not linked to each other, but indirectly stress is linked to hair fall. So if there is stress, if there is biotin deficiency in your body, and if there is protein deficiency in your body, this can lead to hair fall. Along with that, if there is vitamin D3 or iron deficiency, then you have high blood pressure, then you have hair fall. So hair fall ke liye, these things are important. You have to check your CBC, you have to check your vitamin D3, and you have to check whether you're having enough proteins or not, and you have to check your stress levels, of course.
Okay.
So yeah, so these are the underlying conditions. But sometimes, high blood pressure is not just high blood pressure. There are other diseases also accompanied with that.
Okay, right. So next question that we have here is, and the consequences of not controlling blood pressure.
So we already spoke about that, right? So it can lead to a lot of heart diseases. So there's chest pain, there is irregular heartbeat, there's tachycardia, there is angina, there is heart blockages, there's heart sometimes heart failure, heart attacks is all because of high blood pressure. So high blood pressure is directly linked to your heart attack. Okay, so and kidney diseases, it can lead to a stroke. All this is because of uncontrolled hypertension.
Right. Okay. Now, before we move ahead with the questions, I also had to mention something. So I think early detection also helps a lot in maintaining it.
Yes.
Right. And with that in mind, we at IMT Care have some customized blood checkup packages as well, which I will put in the chat box. So basically, you can get a whole body screening at just 999, which includes your vitamins as well. Okay, so you can put it here. So you can just book it on the link that we've shared, or you can call us on that number and book it. So just letting everyone, and this can be done for you or your family members, anyone. So please note this down. Because I think, Sonia, you would agree, right? That early detection so
This
helps
is
a lot.
very important. Early detection helps in all the metabolic conditions. So whether it is diabetes, cholesterol, or blood pressure, if you detect it early, you can reverse it. So you need not go on medication. You can easily reverse it. So
Exactly.
checking your body profile is very important. If you're 40 years and above, every year you have to check your body profile. So that is very important.
Right. In fact, somebody has just mentioned that in the chat box also, that at what age should you have your first screening blood pressure?
So looking at the conditions now, and the heart attacks are coming at the age of 25 and 30 years. So if you feel that you're too stressed out and need be, you can always check your blood pressure once a month. It is completely safe and painless to check your blood pressure. So once a month, you can check your blood pressure. If it is coming normal at all given times, then it's okay. But if you are seeing signs of hypertension, then you should monitor it regularly.
Okay. All right. Next we have here is suggest on the breakfast, lunch and dinner quantity for these meals and timing.
And that is very individual specific, So how much breakfast? We can give you a sample plan that you can have your sprouts for morning, you can have your whatever, but that is very individual specific. So whatever the person's requirement is there, accordingly we plan the diet.
Right. Okay, so I think Rahul has put this query. So I think Rahul, you can reach out to Sonia for a personalized
Yes, you can
plan.
give my number on the chat box if you wish.
Yes. In fact, I was just going to say that anybody who wants a personalized diet plan for any specific ailment or anything, you can please reach out to Sonia directly. Sonia ji, please put your number in the chat box.
Yeah,
Or
I'll give my
also,
number.
or you can also get in touch with her through us. So you can just call on this number anytime that I've put in the chat box, and you can click on that link to book this test also. Just letting you all know that the test this package at 999 would include your heart profile, liver profile, kidney profile, your diabetes profile including HbA1c, your vitamin D, B12, urine test, thyroid, T3, T4, TSH. So it's a complete comprehensive package, which is easily available in the market at more than 2,500.
Yeah,
I guess.
Looks like a discounted package.
Yes, so this is a discounted package, especially for IMT Care members and their families. So you could get it done for anybody. I think Sonia ji, आपने ये जो भेजा है वो खाली hosts or panelists को गया है, but I've shared it with everyone now. So this is her number. Anybody has any other further questions or would like to discuss anything, you can raise your hand. I can even unmute you. All right, I think looks like no one has any further questions. So thank you so much everyone for attending the event for today. Looking forward for you guys attending our future events also. And once again, thank you so much, Sonia, for coming and doing another event for us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
You
Take care.
too.
Bye.